A lot of times things are said in anger and out of hurt. And most of the time it's not true and is not necessary. So my children's childhood is my greatest accomplishment, I feel like, because I feel like I was the curse breaker. There were some things that I needed to break off of them. And the greatest part about that is the relationship that I am trying to reformulate, because the hardest relationships that there is to maintain on this earth, besides husband and wife, boyfriend and girlfriend, all of that, is mother-daughter. And I don't know how it is with different races and different cultures, but I'm gonna say for Black women, it's really hard. And it's even fucking harder when you're trying to do both at the same time. When you're trying to be a daughter and a mother at the same time, be a daughter and a mother to daughters is the hardest shit in the world, because you're being pulled in both sides. And a lot of times it's toxic. So you're fighting for your life, really. And so it's very important to me that I raise my daughters differently than the way that I was raised, and that we have a relationship different than what my mother and I do have. And we have always, the way we were raised, 80s and 90s, is what I say go. There ain't no discussion. You don't get to say whether you like it or not. And I heard somebody say that kids have a right to question their parents. In some instance, I agree with that. So I am so freaking proud of the job that I'm doing with my girls. And I took the youngest to Florida. It was just me and her. And so on the plane, I knew that once you get up so high, your ears start popping. And so I had gum, and she wanted a drink in the airport. And I was like, you know how much this drink is, back here? And so I gave her the gum, keep chewing and swallowing. It wasn't happening. So I spent like $12 on a little bitty ass apple juice, because her ears started hurting and she was crying. And I know we all seen that video where the man was yelling at the flight attendants because there was a baby crying, and he was upset that a baby's crying. Well, sir, baby's gonna do what babies do, and they cry. And I didn't comment on it because there was a baby on the flight on the way back that was crying. It wasn't like that. It wasn't hysterical like that. But I would hate to make a mother, because, that's who he was really yelling at. The baby didn't give a fuck about what he was saying. The baby's ears was hurting. So the mother or the parents is who he was really yelling at, who he was angry at. And so I didn't comment at all. And I didn't even bring the discussion up. And so my daughter said, we were in the car. And she was like, we were in the car, and she had the back window down. And I don't know if anybody has figured out, but if the back window is the only window that's down, and the other windows and the sunroof, it will hurt your ears. So I'm telling her, let that window up. I'll open the sunroof, but let that window up. And she was like, that's why that baby was crying on the airplane, because the baby's ears was hurting. And I was like, yeah, I know. And I told her, I said, I didn't share it. I didn't comment on it, because I feel like I could say whatever I want to on Beyonce's internet, and I don't care. Like, I'm going to comment in the way that I feel. And so she said, my ears was hurting and I was crying, and I could have been screaming like that baby. I said, I know. And that's why I had the gum and I had the juice, so that your ears wouldn't hurt and you wouldn't be screaming and hollering like that. Although she isn't a baby, that shit still hurts. And so I have traveled with a 2-year-old. Was she 2? A 2-year-old that it was hurting her ears. I had sippy cups and juices. This was, no, it wasn't. It was after 9/11. So they still kind of, care. We probably bought a $8 juice then, but her ears was hurting, and so I knew what it was like, and I know trying to quiet the baby down, and you don't want to disturb everybody, I know what that's like. But for her to say he shouldn't have even been complaining because the baby ears was hurting, and I know what it's like for my ears to hurt, and I could have been crying and stuff. So to hear her, and the craziest part about it is I didn't watch the clip with her. I didn't even know she watched the clip, which is crazy, but because they're on social media, they're online all the time, they're seeing things come up and but the what makes me the proud mother is the way she was able to have an intelligent adult conversation with me about something that made, I guess, went viral, and give her opinion and say, he should have just put his things in. When the baby behind me was crying, I just turned my thing up. I'm listening to a book. That ain't really music, but it was enough to drown the baby out. And then I'm trying to hush my kid up because she was crying. She did cry going to Florida as her ears was hurting, and I was trying to pour juice and wads of gum in her mouth and trying to massage her ears and listen to my book. And so I say all that to say, a lot of mothers, when we don't think we're doing a good job, or we don't think that they know or understand, or that they don't get it, voila, they do, and they give it to us when you least expect it. I had no idea that she was going to hit me with that the way she did, and sound so intelligent, and even be a bigger person than the little crybaby man that was on the plane that was complaining. But I get it though. He paid for his ticket. He didn't want to hear that. I don't know who hasn't been on a plane with a baby and they cried a little bit. Like, now we, can drown that out. But I'm so proud of my kids. I'm proud of the job that I'm doing. I'm proud of the generational curses I'm breaking. I'm proud of how bright their future is going to be, because if she's having these kind of conversations with me now, it's can you imagine who she would be, or who she's going to be, or the changes she's going to make in the world? And even times when I'm like, I get frustrated with her and I don't understand, I know it's for her greater good. Or I know that as smart as she is, there's a flip side, because they want to challenge you too. But she's a third one, so there is new stuff coming, but I'm not a rookie. This ain't my first rodeo, so I know where I'm going. But I wish there was some kind of cheat code for mothers and daughters, especially Black mothers and daughters. There's so many jokes where they say, you do something and your mama get on the phone and she's telling you, and let me tell you what she did. Let me tell you what, and this girl had the nerve, and then she did this and that. Instead of just talking to me about it, you get on the phone. And it's things that were passed down. And a lot of times we get to the point where we don't want to talk about it. Like, it's not that you're embarrassed, but you're like, I don't want to talk about what's going on with my kid to make her feel ashamed or embarrassed or something like that. But then you get with a homegirl that know you, that know your kids, that got kids, and that's going through the same thing. And she tell you, you're doing right. You're a great mama. Don't let what the bitter baby daddy saying about you make you think or make you question that you ain't doing a good job, look at them. Look at the job you're doing. Look at the relationship you have with them. And I was like, thank you. Like, I needed to hear that. I don't question that I'm doing a good job, but sometimes the road gets dark and it get like something else, or this child. I don't know if people, I've said this since the first one. I still feel my epidural shot in my back. And so last night my back was hurting and it was like 1 o'clock and 2 of them was asleep. I know that. But there's a third one that is an adult that I said, where you at and what you doing? Because my back hurting where my epidural was at, which means you're doing something stupid. And she laughed, but it wasn't that she was doing something stupid. It was something that she was doing that mama said don't do. I want to say, did I say don't do? Or that I knew you was doing something somewhere, or thinking of something you had on, because that epidural thingy right there didn't lie, and it wasn't raining, baby. And I know it's the epidural thing because the spot where I had my epidural and down my leg. So that's how I know it was one of them. So sis is grown, but I can feel it in my body when something is off with my kids, and other mothers can too. It's a superpower that we get probably during labor. You know, you have this connection with your kids, and I don't know if fathers have it, because I ain't never been no father, no dad, but I know I got it, and I know that I wouldn't change a thing. I would not change a thing. God has given me 3 of the most amazing, magnificent, strong, independent, entrepreneurial minded, strong-willed, test, because they test you every day. But I thank God for it. I wouldn't change it any other way. Even those times I'll be like, ugh, I wish I hadn't met him, and I wish I had but then I think about, had I not met him, I wouldn't have met them. So what would have been regret, or shoulda, coulda, woulda, turned into thank you, God. And I always think about something where I say, you don't know who you carrying during the time that you carrying. It could be the next Martin Luther King. It could be the next Coretta Scott King. It could be the next Maya Angelou. It could be the next Barack Obama. It could be the next Whitney Houston, or the next one that was sent to save us. So it is not Mother's Day yet, but I thank God every day for allowing me to be a part of this adventure, this roller coaster, this ride. And I look forward to it every day. Ups, downs. It's like a roller coaster ride. Sometimes it's an amusement park and you get sick, and it just, it's amazing. And it's something that I can't, you really can't put into words. Although sometimes it is bad, but it's part of that mother-daughter relationship, but it's part of them kind of, stretching out and trying to test the wings and trying to test you and see if you could, handle what they give. But the hardest thing in the world is letting them go. That's the hardest thing, and letting them be adults and watching them fall to see if they can pick them up. The hardest thing in the world has been letting them fall or fail, or not rushing to scoop them up when you see that they ain't really flying the way you taught them to fly. But it's necessary because you need to see that when they do fall, that everything that you've put into them, they're able to bounce back up and get it right. So any mother out there, especially Black mothers, just rest and assure that it may be dark today, but tomorrow is another chance to get it right. It may seem bad today, but it's only one day. It may look ugly right now and you may be in a storm, but there's always tomorrow. And on days like graduation, and now I'm not gonna say prom because they wear us out for prom. They wear you out for prom. But on awards days and graduations and days, I sit back and I love when my daughter says, you know, she appreciates the job, and she having a mother that is still there for you when you're adult is one of the best feelings in the world. She knows I'm only a text, a call away, but because of the way I made her, a lot of times she's too proud to ask for help, and I hate that. And she's too independent, she's too headstrong, but she's too much like me, because I said that I was young when I had her. So she was 19 when she was born because she had to grow up with me. And so I made her strong and independent, which is not a bad thing, but then they don't listen and they don't shut up, and then, you know, you can't wait for them to go off to school. But when they do go off, you call every day, and then you get to checking locations and where you at and what you doing. And they just had something up there, and she was like not answering the phone. And I told my youngest, I said, she don't care about us anymore. But I love watching them blossom into young women that I made. So mothers, chin up, keep your head up, like Pop said. Dear mama, you're doing an amazing job. Trouble don't last always, and rainy nights, storms do not last forever. And enjoy the good days, learn from the bad, and keep it moving, because nobody said it was going to be easy, and it is not easy. It is not, but it's worth it.